Hello and welcome back to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your cook, Uncle Roy, and my lovely assistant, Miss Callie, she's home. She's napping. Oh no. We're out at the gardens on location again at the First Gardens, and this is when we did the impatiens and the coleus. And I'll show you those a little bit later to show how they are coming along as they're growing. And I'll show you everything else too. It's just blooming gorgeously. Anyway, today we're going to be dividing hostas. In the front here, I have the hostas with the white trim on the leaf. Those are already divided up, and I got those over here by the daylilies, and I'll show you those too. But these are the ones we're going to take and dig up today, and I'll show you how to divide those, which is so easy to do. But the thing is, when you do them, some places the dirt is as hard as rock, and then to divide your hostas, sometimes you're going to have to saw them and take a saw and cut those in half or in quarters, and it can be really hard to do. So it all depends on, your growing conditions, because most people will plant hostas where it's hard to grow anything, because hostas do grow in anywhere. You can put them in hard as clay and they'll still grow there. But anyway, these are our hostas, and I just divided all of these up like 3 years ago, and already they're growing back really, really thick. So what you want to do is look at the base and see where we are. And I only have 2 bunches here, and I'll do a close-up and let you see what that looks like. Now here's the base. As you can tell, this is a lot of hostas growing around here. And what we're going to do is dig around this whole entire hosta, and then we can divide this up probably into like 4, maybe even 5 miniature plants. And then we'll plant those elsewhere in the yard. So we're going to just take and dig around the perimeter. And you can see only one shovel already dug that up quite a bit. And we'll just go right around the entire plant and just press up and get this all dug up. And just work your way around the hosta. Very easy to do, and you can tell this is already coming out. Now we got this big old clump, and this is really big, so I'm going to divide this into 3s. Probably about here. That looks like about 2, and this is easy enough to cut through with my shovel. I got one section here, and then I'll just divide this one in half. Now, like I said, this is going through rather easy, but I've had these before where they were like hard as a rock to get through, and then you're going to have to take and saw through with a regular saw to get through that. But now we got 3 plants where we only had 1 before, and I'll probably take the largest one to keep here, and we're going to transplant and move these other 2. And this one here is already breaking apart, so I could probably get 2 more out of here. Then all you have to do is take, and we'll put back in this one here and just redig the hole, because we want to get some more fresh dirt in here. Well, not in here, but we want to get some fresh dirt loosened, because you don't want to put that back into a compact hole. You want to dig that up just so that the nutrients and the dirt and all that is in a looser area rather than being tight and compacted. We want to give this new growth some healthy growing. So we got that in, and then we'll just fill it around in with the dirt. And then sometimes I'll just take and pack in with my foot just to get that down in there. Keep it from being loose, and pack it in, and that's that. It's very simple to do. And there we have it, with the one already being divided on the side here. And that makes it look so much nicer and more thinned out. And this will fill up really gorgeously too, and nice and thick. And then we'll just take and do the same with this one. We'll dig this up and divide it, and I'll probably divide it into, I want to get probably 2 more in here, because this is so big. And then we'll transplant these down down along the trail there where I have another hosta bed. And there we go. And now it looks so much nicer, where it's much more clear, it's not so compact and crowded. And like in probably another 2 years, it'll be all thick and growing together again, so I'll have to divide more. And that's one thing about hostas, you can just let them grow and divide and multiply like that. And you can take and just decorate anywhere in your yard. And now that I've finished with them, they're going to need a drink of water because they're going to be shocked from that transplant. So I always make sure, I always do that. And I always put in Miracle Grow. And you just need a tablespoon per gallon. And that's going to be just fine. And I'll fill this water and we'll give these all a fresh drink. Because when you transplant, your plants are going to go into shock. So you want to make sure that they get plenty of nutrients and the water so that they stay alive. And your plants will come back every year and they'll be just great. And this is a 2-gallon container. I'm sorry, that's a 1 tablespoon for the whole 2 gallons. You just don't want to over-fertilize too. Now hostas, they like the Miracle Grow, and this is the regular kind. So this is going to be rich in nitrogen, which is great for all your green leaf plants, like your hostases, your elephant ears, any type of plant that's just all green leaf. This is excellent formula for them because it keeps them green. Miracle Grow also makes a high in phosphate one, which is called Bloom Booster, and that's perfect for your blooming flowers because when they bloom, they need that extra energy to keep the flowers bigger and brighter, and so phosphate is good for them. But not your greens, because the phosphate will burn the leaves on your greens. So only use the regular Miracle Grow on greens like these hostases and elephant ears. And then you can use the Bloom Booster just on flowered ones. Don't get it mixed up or the greens will burn from the phosphate. Now here's the daylilies on the side of the house, over in the side of the yard, on the side of the driveway. And you can see the hostas there in front now are from the ones that I divided earlier last week, but from the same bed, the ones with the white edges. And you can see how those are taken over there, and they look really nice as a border around the lilies. And you can put those hostas anywhere, because they love the shade. And that's hard to grow over there. And that dirt over there was like hard as rock and gravel, so it's great for hostas, because they'll come back in that poor soil they thrive in. And then we'll show you the bed where we're going to plant these others. Now here's the other hosta bed in the back of the yard. And this is along the fence in the woods. And see, they live right in the woods. So we got the woods right there, and the hostas right here. And this was just all wild weeds and stuff. But you can tell it's been taking some time, but I've been dividing those hostas and planting the others over here. And they're starting to fill in really nice. I even have some new selections this year. The ones right down front here. These are, that's the Blue Angel, the Big Daddy, and it's going to be a dark blue one, and eventually it's going to get to be about 4 feet high. It'll probably take, 2-3 years to get that big, but it's going to be just beautiful. And this one right down here is the Empress Wu. That is only a couple leaves right now, but in time, when it starts to grow and multiply, this is supposed to get to be about 5 feet high, and it's going to be just in about 4 to 5 feet wide. It's going to be just gorgeous, covering up this whole entire rock area. I can't wait for these. And we'll just take and plant those other hostas right in along the beds here. And there, I just planted this one right over here. And you want to make sure you get a good drink of water. Whenever transplanting, you always have to make very important to make sure they get a drink of water, because that really helps them out. Because like I said before, that really shocks them when you transplant. And I put more down in here. You gotta water these really well too. And then eventually these are just gonna take over this whole area, and that's the idea, is to have all these hostas instead of weeds around here. So we hope you had fun enjoying how to plant or transplant hostas. And we'll go back and meet Callie Alleys. Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your cook, Uncle Roy, and this is my lovely assistant, Miss Callie. Oh! Oh! Come here for your tweets. Yeah. Come here. So pretty. Oh, yeah. Quench. We're going to have to make some homemade doggy treats one of these days. Callie's jar is getting kind of low. Yeah. And she don't like the store-bought one. She'll eat them, but she likes the homemade ones better. Yeah. Peanut butter shortbreads. Yeah, favorites. Anyway, on today's show, we're going to be making a spinach salad. This is going to be nice and cool and refreshing for these summer days. And first, what we're going to be needing is, a spinach salad with strawberries and caramelized nuts and feta cheese. Ooh, that sounds good. So we're going to have to get the nuts going first, which I did. And what you want to do is you need 1 cup of walnuts, and you just lay those out on your cookie sheet. Bake these in the oven at 325 for about 10 to 15 minutes until they get a nice golden brown. Then we just take them out of the oven and let those sit for just a moment. And we're going to be making the caramel sauce. And so for that, we need a teaspoon of oil. I'm going to put that in first. And then a tablespoon of honey. Now I just took and greased up my tablespoon a little bit just so that the honey doesn't stick to it and comes out much easier. Or you can just, spray the utensil. And we need a tablespoon of water. Now we bring this to a boil, and when it boils, then we'll be adding our nuts to this. Okay, this came to a boil now. Now we add our nuts, and we stir this for about a minute or until all the liquid is absorbed into the nuts. And just keep stirring so you don't burn them. You want to reduce this down to a medium, and that's it. See? See, all the liquid's absorbed now. There's no more liquid on the bottom. All the nuts are nice and moist. Now for the coating, for this we need a 1/4 cup of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and then that's all you need for the coating. But I want mine a little hot and spicy, and you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder if you want, a hot chili powder, or I'm going to be adding a 1/4 teaspoon of Cajun spice seasoning. And that just gives a little hot and sweet. You can add more or less, depending on your preference. Then we just take our hot nuts and we toss those right into the bowl. And then we just mix these around, toss this all around very well. Because we want all that sugar and spice, well, as much as we can get, to be absorbed onto the nuts. And that's it. And then we just lay these back out onto our cookie sheet. And we let these cool and dry completely. And then we'll just go on to our spinach salad. So now we're going to be making the salad, and we first need to make the raspberry vinegarette dressing. This is very easy. And this is raspberry vinegar that my boss made out from one of the gardens, and he grew the raspberries himself. I don't have the recipe for this, but boy, is it ever good. And you can buy raspberry vinegar in any grocery store. So for the dressing, we just need a 1/4 cup of raspberry vinegar. Oh, it smells so good. A half teaspoon each of salt and pepper. There's pepper. And of course I use the kosher salt. And I put kosher salt in anything I possibly can when it calls for salt because it makes your baking products much lighter and fluffier. And there's less sodium in it too, so it's much healthier for you too. And we're going to be needing a half teaspoon of mustard. In case you're wondering, I'm putting in 2 of everything because I don't have a half teaspoon. It got caught in the garbage disposal, so I got to do a double 1/4. Zip, zip, zoom, zoom. And then that's it for that. We'll turn this on high, and then we'll just drizzle in 1 cup of olive oil. And this drizzle in real slow, and then it emulsifies and gets really thick. Don't go fast or it'll separate. So you want to go a slow, steady stream. And that's our raspberry vinaigrette dressing. Ooh, can't wait to try this one out, Callie Alleys. Where'd you go? Oh, samples? She's watching from afar. So now we'll just put together our salad. Now for this, we'll just put on the fresh spinach. However much you want to eat. You know, it's all based on your own preference. Oh, click, click, click. Oh, here she is. And to this, we'll put on a little crumbles of feta cheese. You could use blue cheese too if you prefer. Oh, cheese. Oh, look at her. Sampled it, caught it midair. Oh, crumb. After the crumbs, look at her. Oh. And then we take and slice on a few strawberries. And just lay these around on top of your spinach. Look at her. Oh, oh. Big nose right there. Anything I cut on the cutting board, she hears that cutting sound, she's got to come running. It's like, food, Uncle, why food, food? Oh, I want a sample. And then we top that off with our caramelized nuts. Sprinkle a few on. Oh, samples. And then we just take and drizzle on our vinaigrette dressing. Now the remainder of the dressing you can put in a container and put that in the fridge. And it'll last you, that'll last you quite a long time because it has vinegar in it. But you want to keep it refrigerated. And the nuts you can put in an airtight container, and you can just store those in a dry cupboard. And they'll last for a long time. But they probably won't because you'll eat them up right away. They're a great snack. But this is our lovely spinach salad. Really light and healthy for you. And you can have this on a hot summer day or any time of the year when ingredients are available. And let's see what will go with that, Callie. I think we should have a glass of iced tea to go with that. And this is most refreshing. And this is my sun tea that I just made the other day. It was 90 degrees out, and I took advantage of the hot heat. Just take your gallon jug glass, fill it full of water, put in about 8 tea bags. Lay put them in there, the strings with the tags on the side, and cover with that so the strings hang out. And just let it sit in the sun for about 3 hours. the longer you let it sit, the stronger it'll get. Then you just get rid of the tea bags and you put the whole thing in the refrigerator and let it chill down. And then you have your delicious iced sun tea. And this is plain, or you can add a little sweetener to it if you like. I have aspartame, which is the blue packet sugar, which is the NutraSweet. And I just love this stuff. Of course, I'm diabetic, and anything is good for me, whatever I can get my sweet tooth on. Callie, oh, how nice. And we'll just take and get a close-up of that. And this is our lovely spinach salad with fresh strawberries, caramelized nuts, feta cheese, and our own homemade raspberry vinaigrette dressing. Don't this look good, Callie? Yeah. Oh, she's ready for a sample. And our homemade iced tea. So we hope you enjoy this as much as we do. Now here's the central garden on the driveway, and you can see the peonies are just gorgeous. They're starting to bloom. They're just beautiful. And these are a real strange kind of peony. They're different than most. They're not your standard peony. I don't know what kind they got, but they were so unique. I just love them. And the catnip's in full bloom. And so are the bachelor buttons in the background, the purple, the dark blue ones. Those are real pretty. And then right here at the entryway, just by the fountain, you can see my lilies are getting taller and they're starting to get some buds on them. They're getting the little buds there already. And these are going to be just gorgeous colors. I don't know which ones are which. I mean, what colors. But they're going to be just beautiful. And you can see the alliums are in full bloom too, and these are those bigger ones. These are real pretty. I just love these alliums. These aren't the Globemaster. I think they're just the sphere ones. I can't remember the name of them. I want to say the Lucille Ball, but not quite. Lucille Ball is a darker purple. It's not the Globemaster. The Globemaster, the trunk, the stem is a little bit thicker and it's a little bit darker purple. And it's not the pink sensations, the Globe Sensations. These are just pretty. I just love these. And then here's the garden that we planted last episode. And you can see that the coleuses are just really growing to town, and so are the impatiens. And you can see, remember we had those lilies. I planted those lily bulbs every so often, and those are all coming up really nice. So we're going to have these shades of pinks and pastels and purples with the coleuses, and the lilies are going to be pinks and whites and different shades of pinks and whites. Oh, they're going to be so pretty when these are in bloom. Well, thank you for watching our show. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We went out to the gardens and did some hosta planting and transplanting and breaking apart, and we had a nice little spinach salad with that ever tasty too. So Callie, come here. Let's see who wrote us this week. Oh, I got some pretty Miss Callie. Drop the tweet. Oh, so pretty. Oh, there you go. Dear Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, I'm having problems with my irises this summer. They came up nice and green, but I'm not getting any flowers. What's wrong? Signed, Jesse of Osseo, Minnesota. Well, thanks, Jesse. Let's see. The first thing I've come to mind is if it's all green, you might be fertilizing too much. I've done that before. Miracle-Gro, every single time you water, is over-fertilizing, and that'll make your plants come up green but no flowers. The other thing is, too, the rhizome root of the iris may be planted too deep. If it is too deep, then all you're going to come up, all that's going to come up is the green leaves, but no flowers. You need to plant them about 3 inches. Don't go any deeper. They need to be shallow, just like peonies and cannonballs. They all need to be shallow, about 3 inches. And you also want to make sure that they have full sun, which means at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. Now, you can break it up throughout the day, the kinds of light that hits it, because you might have, say, 4 hours in the morning sun, and then 4 hours in the afternoon sun, because there are trees along the way here on the other side that shaded it. But it's still, whenever that sun is on there, you need at least 6 to 8 hours of that sun to be directly on that plant in order for it to bloom properly. If you only get a couple of hours of full sun, it ain't gonna do it, because you need at least 6 to 8 hours. It has to have a lot of sun. That's why your plants that's called for full sun need to be out in the sun, not just morning sun for a few hours and then the house will shade it or the trees will shade it later on. Full sun, a lot of sun, at least 6 hours. So try that, move your plants, stop fertilizing overly if you did, and your irises should come back. Another thing too, if they're not blooming, is they might be too old. You might have had them for quite a few years and your patch is too compact and too thick. You need to break them up and transplant them like we did the hostas. You need to separate the bulbs, the rhizomes. Because if you have too many, too thick, that's going to go all leaf and no flower too. So try all those and let's see if you get better results. Thanks, Jesse. And you too, if you have any questions for Callie, feel free to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com, and we'll try to answer your questions as best we possibly can. And we might put it in a jar for a treat for Miss Callie. So come here, Callie. Come here. So from Callie and myself, we like to say, healthy eating, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Say goodbye, Callie. Sit pretty and say goodbye. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Quench, quench, quench.